So the February pay-per-view is announced. It's going to be Vader taking on Bret Hart, taking on Steve Austin, taking on The Undertaker. Of course, this is Final Four from Chattanooga. Yeah. The idea being these were the last 4 guys in the Rumble when there was some controversy involved. So on Superstars, while Vader and Bear are cutting a promo about the match, they're in the ring, and you come down the aisle asking why it can't be Final 5 and where is your title shot, Uncle Paul, which is pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
And then Lowell, Mass, of course, February 13th, it all changes. It's the now infamous Thursday, Raw Thursday. It's also the day where Rocky Maivia, who'd he ever beat, becomes the Intercontinental Champion for the very first time, and then Shawn loses his smile. And you're in the arena that night. And listen, Shawn is a different person. I think you even referred to him a couple of weeks ago as Bad Shawn.
Good Shawn. Bad Shawn, good Shawn.
Yeah, so Bad Shawn here. A lot of people thought, that injury is bullshit. He just doesn't want to return the favor to Bret at WrestleMania. I'm not saying you necessarily felt that, but you're there in the building. Was the consensus from the locker room, I don't know that he's doing the right thing here?
Just help me out with my dates here. Shawn loses his smile before or after that fatal 4-way?
So it's the Thursday before. So it was supposed to determine a number 1 contender and who's going to go on to WrestleMania to get the shot.
Okay.
But then that Thursday, Shawn forfeits the title. So now Final 4, which is in a few days, will determine who's the world champion.
This is the one I want to turn into a Final 5.
Yes.
I remember when I saw Shawn losing his smile as being very emotional.
Yes.
This is just my recollection.
Yes.
That we weren't second guessing it, and I didn't second guess it until the Slammies. When I saw Shawn all but do a back handspring on that stage. You know that he and Bret got the a match of the year, and he said, "I beat you that one too." It was still unusual at that time because of kayfabe still being alive.
Yeah, a little bit
alive and well. You know, maybe on resuscitation, but it was still unusual to me to see 2 people on the stage together collecting a Match of the Year award.
Yes.
Now we see it on Sports Center with Sasha.
This is also the era, though, where Mankind and Vader show up in tuxedos and their masks. So, kayfabe's alive. We're wearing masks.
We're wearing masks. Leon was still wearing his mask at the Hall of Fame until the year before he passed away. But yeah, we were there in the masks, and I won a Slammy for Lucis Screw. And at that point, I was sitting with the Headbangers. I think I even threw them the trophy. And this is also the night that Leon suffers an injury because of a prank that Bret Hart plays. So we'll get into that momentarily because that's leading up to our Mania match,
it's a big
which is
moment.
just a couple nights later. We're both wearing we're both wearing our masks. We're protecting kayfabe. Going back to Shawn, I'm sitting there and I'm seeing Shawn, who does not look like a guy with a career-ending knee injury, but up until that moment on stage, I didn't doubt it. You know, he lost his smile and injured his knee. And it's important. Now we look at losing your smile, you know, and we understand sometimes you have to step away because...
Yeah, mental health is a different conversation now than it was back then.
Right. But I would say losing your smile is a mental health issue.
Of course.
And you get worn down. There's no rigor of the road, to me, like WWE. And to be that guy with that weight on your shoulders, especially pre-Attitude Era when we became that collective WWE juggernaut, before that there was more pressure on the main events to draw, and your tenure as champion was seen as being a success or failure based on house show attendance.
So it's down and you're hurting, and I don't think we're speaking out of school. He's probably over-medicating. So he's not himself in any capacity at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not what it was. It's not. There's this little conversation I had. This might seem like a tangent I'm going off on, but there's this story in my Santa memoir about being in the front row at Madison Square Garden for a Knicks game. And I'm sitting there, and this time, like I am today, you know, I'm over 300 pounds. I'm taking up more than my allotted cushion. And so, beautiful young lady sits, I see her approaching to sit down. Turns out she's with her mom. And I can see the hesitation on their face because people are sitting in the front row. They don't want to sit next to me. You know, if you're sitting next to Spike Lee or Ben Stiller, you know, and guys that were there, that's you sit next to this guy. And so I don't think this is a well-known story. So I understand this poor young lady, she's like sitting like this. If I'm to her right side, she's all but huddled over. And now the MSG team comes over to me, tells me they're going, have I told you this story?
No.
Okay. All right, okay. It's a pretty good story about timing and it's still that, I'll tell you why I enjoyed it after I tell you the line. Once they come over to me and say, okay, we're going to talk to you at the end of the first quarter. We have about 45 seconds. Now, they're talking to me during a 1-minute timeout. So by the time they walk away from me, there's probably 20 seconds left in the timeout. And the young lady says to me, oh, so they're going to interview you, huh? I said, yeah. She said, about what? I said, about a book I wrote. So now we got 5, 6, 7 seconds left. She goes, what's your book about? I said, it's about my time in prison. And the buzzer hits, timeout's over, and the poor woman is just huddled like this. There's a photo where it looked kind of like, she looks kind of like my daughter, right? Beautiful young lady. And it looks like we've known each other for years in the photo, because what the photo is, it's of me on the scoreboard, and she sees that it's me being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. And then they show me over there, you know, and she goes, oh, wrestler, huh? And so she tells me that she was a Rockette. And then she's, oh, that must have been incredible being a big Christmas fan like I am. And I said, what was that like? She goes, oh, sometimes it was like Groundhog's Day. And I said, I bet you wrestling and dancing have more than you think in common. And she said, why is that? I said, because I bet there were moments when you had to remind yourself that you were doing exactly what you always dreamed of. And she said, how did you know? I said, it's not that different than from what we do. So as that applies to wrestling, there are those moments that you have to really remind yourself, this is exactly where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
You wonder why you're not getting that same emotional boost from it. You know, we talk about being, you know, the pop, the need for the pop. Triple H, refer to Chasing the Dragon, which is a drug reference, but it's the same idea of,
we get it.
Why can't I feel that way now? And maybe it's because it's become your job. And it's so hard to hit those emotional peaks so regularly, to do it in a business where you're away from your family for weeks. You know, even though it was 10 days on, 3 days off, sometimes you'd be away for weeks on end. WWE, before they got to that more, you know, humane schedule, guys would be on the road for 90 days at a time. Randy Orton remembers seeing his dad for like 7 days in a single year.
Wow.
That things were really tough, but nobody wanted to hop off that train because you didn't know how long it was going to ride for. So now we see what Shawn was going through. At that time, people would snicker about losing your smile.
Yes.
But man, you're talking about a guy in his prime no longer feeling what it was that he felt when he got into the business and needing to step away. You know, knee injury and the smile issue. The smile issue being probably a lot more prominent than the knee.
Yeah, for sure.